Welcome back, everyone. This is the fourth video of demonstrating the RAID boss. I mentioned in our last video that the overnight AI job was going to run and auto-assign specific team members RAID entry items. So you'll see here on the screen that there's also a couple info alerts that have popped up here. Owner overload. So the lead data scientist has 10 open RAID items. So that's just information purposes only for the PM to be aware of those items. You can see here that these are all assigned to that lead data scientist. So as the PM, if you feel like you need to reach out to that lead data scientist and make sure that they're aware of that, he can do that. He or she can do so, and also reassign as needed. So going back to the morning briefing, we can see other items here. So for example, this specific info item is auto-assigned role lead data scientist. So Timothy Jones was assigned an action item here. So the action requires designing a parallel processing workflow, which falls under the expertise of a lead data scientist. So if you click on that, it's going to populate and show in this pop-up window that specific item. So again, these alerts under the morning briefing are for information purposes only, and they will expire and repopulate with new entries in 24 hours. Next thing I wanted to show you and talk about is these risks that have been automatically analyzed. So again, any risk that is critical or high priority will automatically be analyzed by the AI job overnight. So what we can do here is look at this specific one. Current EKS cluster sizing may be insufficient for high volume. So if we click on this, here's the details of that. And if we look right here, there's an AI risk analysis drop down. So if you look at that, this is actually something that was run overnight. So this is the impact analysis, immediate action that is defined as needed, strategic mitigation, and the contingency plan. So if you feel confident about all of these analyses that have been done by AI, you can create these RAID entries and it'll populate them and link directly to that. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's create these RAID entries. You'll see now that they are being automatically created. And here in just a moment, you'll see the successful creation of those new entries and a link to them. And I'll show those here in just a second. So those have been created. There's 4 RAID items. So let's go ahead and cancel out of this. And now we will go back to the RAID log and look at that specific risk item. So that's the current EKS. So if we go here and we do a search for EKS, it should bring it right up. There it is right here. So this one right here is the actual risk, and those additional actions were what was created. So you can see here, it's sorted by type. So you'll see now that all these actions that were assigned and created automatically by AI are populated and referenced here. You'll see some of these have automatically been assigned out to the proper owner. Next thing I wanted to talk about, and it was based off of my last video, I wanted to talk about the ingest button right here on the RAID log. So let's pop this up here real quick. So this actually will populate and create RAID entries based off of an email thread or a meeting transcript. So for easy access to this, what I've done is I've gone ahead and taken a email thread and I'm going to paste it in here. So the format of this does not matter. It can be any jumbled text, but this is actually an email thread that was copied and pasted from an email. So if we want to click the extract with AI button, this is going to do its proper extracting of all this information, understand who any specific owners should be and what specific RAID entries should be created. You'll see this here in just a second. And you can review and approve any of those rate entries or uncheck them if they're not necessary to be created. Should only take here just a second. It's going through this entire email thread and picking out the appropriate assigned to items. And here we go. So this actually created 8 proposed entries. An assumption, high priority, assigned to the QA and security analyst. And it was specifically from Dr. Eris. And then most of these looks like they're assumptions, but here's a couple actions here at the bottom. So again, they were properly assigned out to the team members. So let's go ahead and create these RAID entries. Looks like those have all been created and they're linked to that specific item. You'll see this risk at the bottom with these 7 linked entries that were just created. So if we click on that, it's going to filter out and bring up the dependency and the 6 actions that were created. Again, within the RAID log, you can sort by severity, status, and owner. Any of these columns can be sortable. So let's clear this filter now and go back to this ingest button. And now look at a meeting transcript. So again, the meeting title and the meeting date are optional, but I'll paste a Zoom meeting transcript into this box. And again, the format doesn't matter. And I will go ahead and put the meeting title here, as well as the date, July 24th, 2026. And now we click the Extract with AI button. And as it did with the email thread, it's going to extract all that information based off of the meeting. And it's going to generate specific rate entries that are appropriate, as well as assign any specific actions and other ownership to those entries. Should only take a second. And then again, you'll have the ability to unselect items if you do not want to include those rate entries. Once that's done, I'll go in and we can filter by that and see exactly which ones were created based off of that transcript. So it looks like we have, again, 8. Looks like there's an issue, an action. It looks like they're mostly issues and actions here. Let's go ahead and create these. So you'll see there's a link here to all of the specific entries that were created from that meeting transcript. Impacted. So here's an action. So if we click on that, it's going to show all of the relevant items that were impacted. Again, there were 8 total, 3 issues, and 5 actions. So looking at the screen here, the RAID log, you'll see that this linked RAID entry goes directly to the ingested meeting transcript. So if we click on this, this is going to now filter those specific 8 RAID entries that were created based off of that transcript. So we clear these filters. Scroll down a little bit and you'll see the email thread. So here's the email thread link to the appropriate created rate entries. So let's go ahead and filter by this. So this shows that there's 3 assumptions and 5 actions based off of this email thread ingestion. So the last thing I'll demonstrate here today, if we go back to the morning briefing, actually we'll go back to the dashboard. So we'll go back to the dashboard and talk about the more reports. So again, there's 5 additional reports, overdue actions. So if you click on the overdue actions, this just gives a relative count of those actions. You can download the PDF, and when you download the PDF, that PDF document is going to include the full details of those specific items. So again, you can email if desired, but it's not just going to show these counts, it's going to break it down and show the additional information. Very helpful. Next item here is the owner workload. Again, there's 43 open items, 5 specific owners, 10 unassigned, and 0 overdue at the moment. Download the PDF, send via email, and again, it's going to break it down in full detail in that PDF. Next report is the trend and burn down. So there's the burn down chart based off of the 43 open. Again, same thing, download PDF, send via email, and additional information, including this burn down chart, is going to be available in that email or the PDF. The risk register report, so you can select just the risks. You can include all the other assigned rate entries for this project. So let's go ahead and just choose risk. So you preview and export. So this is where it gives the details, the reference numbers for the specific risks items. Again, you can download in a CSV, download PDF, or you can do an email. And then the last report's a mitigation plan. So again, the mitigation plan here, different strategies, definitions of those are above. I won't go into a lot of detail, but avoid, transfer, reduce, and accept. And again, most of these are created and assigned automatically by AI. You can look here, the score, click on this tooltip. It gives additional information. Same thing as all other reports. You can download PDF or you can send via email. So this is the mitigation plan. It has a breakdown of the items that are assigned, specific mitigation actions, who they're assigned to, and when it's due. So this is helpful to send out to leadership. That's it for today. So I've gone over the more reports section, broken down each of the specific 5 additional reports. Also went over the ingest button and how that works and within the RAID log, how we actually transcribed the email thread and or the meeting transcripts to create additional rate entries. And we also went over the morning briefing section for the what AI flagged and exactly what the specific risks were that were auto-analyzed. Thank y'all for your time.